like it is today. So when I went to Corona, everybody said, you're crazy. That's like going to Blythe today, we out in the boonies. But that's where I made my money. Every Saturday morning for 2 years, and I only missed maybe 3 Saturdays, I would make 10 ridiculous offers, okay? And then I'd come back on the next Saturday, meet at Honey's Restaurant with a broker, local broker, who later on became my partner. And we would make ridiculous offers, and the next week come back, and he'd say, well, here's the results of the 10 offers that you made last week. And maybe you'll say 8 of them, they laughed at you and said it's ridiculous. But with this one, they got a counter offer, and maybe this one was accepted. So it became a lot of fun to do business in Corona. So currently, we're doing business in Banning. Again, we started investing there with a Cal State Fullerton girl who was sitting in the classes as you are. And we became partners, and it's another story I'll go into later. But we ended up buying 47 properties, virtually with no money. I had used a $100,000 line of credit, which eventually went to $400,000. And then we saw the recession coming in 2005, and sold 7 properties, got all of our money back to pay back my line of credit and pay out everything that we had invested in the other properties. So we ended up with 40 properties with not any of our own money in those 40 properties. So we could have gone through the recession. And if we lost everything, we would not have lost any money. So research, development, exit strategy. We may buy 4 properties, maybe 2 you keep, 2 you might sell, and then what I like to do is take the income from the 2 that we sell and then pay off the other 2. So my goal is to move everything over from highly leveraged over to owning free and clear. Development exit strategy, debt versus equity. There's good debt and bad debt. When you first start out in life, you don't really have any money, so you have to go into debt and leverage. But then as you go through life, you'll start moving your property over into the equity side. Okay? One of the things that I've seen a lot of my friends do, and I'm sure you have witnessed it also, they buy a property, say, for $100,000, and it goes up to $120,000. They immediately go ahead and refinance it, pull out $20,000 and buy another property for $100,000 with $20,000 down. So if you look at their portfolio over a 5-year period, they may have 10 properties, all about 80% debt and 20% equity. Well, those folks, when they went into the Great Recession of 2007, the market tumbled 30%. So they were wiped out completely. The plan that I favor, where you do not have any risk whatsoever investing in real estate, there's only 2 ways. One is you own your property free and clear, so that should be your ultimate goal. The other is you're 100% leveraged. Okay? So if you go through a Great Depression, it's like 1932, the properties that you own free and clear, nobody can touch you. Okay? The properties you own, you're leveraged 100%. You give it back to the bank. God forbid you do that, but if it's a Great Depression that we go through, it's better that the bank has your property than you, but you haven't lost anything. Okay. The reality is that the good properties that you own free and clear will take care of the ones that are highly leveraged. And back in 2005 with my company, I had quite a bit of money with Union Bank. And Union Bank said, Bob, you're a good guy, and we will loan you $5 million on your land up at Lake Oroville. There's wild land. Now, that sounded pretty good to me, but this was 2005, and I said, I don't think that's a very good idea. So I said no to the offer. Well, if I had taken that $5 million, okay, and it's non-purchase money, so I would not only lost the $5 million, I lost my property, and whatever remaining money, that deficiency judgment, they could come after me for the balance. So I would be living under one of these off-ramps here in Orange County if I had taken that $5 million. So, but debt is okay as an example. If you borrow money at, say, even 8% interest only, and you buy property that's appreciating north of 8%, and that 8% interest that you're paying, guess what? You write that off your income tax. So you're really only paying 6% interest. So there's some value in having debt. Now, debt to go out and buy, for me to buy an automobile or a boat or a trip to Europe or whatever, I think that's bad debt, okay? But debt that, putting it into property that appreciates in value, that's good debt, right? Also, you want to conduct short and long-term financial analysis. If you buy 5 properties, you kind of look at the properties and you look at where is these properties going in the next 5 years. The value going to be the same, or the value looks like it's going to increase. So you want to take the ones that are keepers and keep them, and the ones that are you don't see where there's much value as far as raising rents or improving the property and taking it from a C property to a B property to an A property, then just sell it and use that money to fix up your other properties or pay down debt. You want to develop credit as soon as you can. And what I would do is I'd go to different banks and open up accounts, maybe 90-day notes, and put the money right in a savings account, and then in 90 days, pay them back. Not without even using the money, but I wanted to be able to, when I need money, I wanted to be able to go to 3 or 4 sources and obtain a loan. I've got one note up in Northern California, and he never wants to be paid. So he's paying him interest on this interest-bearing note. He's always calling me, Bob, can I loan you more money? And then now my goal right now is to pay off all debt. And so you want to develop credit, and most importantly, you want to develop relationships with banks and with people with money. OPE, other people's experience, I call it an informal board of directors. So say you're going to go out and you want to start buying property, making an offer on a property, you want to take a look at, okay, who can I have on my informal board of directors that can assist me in achieving my goal in the property. Tell me what's the good, ugly, and the good, bad, and the ugly on this particular property. Just like when I was in China doing business in China, I started the first parking company in China, and I was a consultant to the Minister of Construction. But it didn't make any moves in China unless Dr. Weili Liu, who you know is head of the finance department. So I've known her since 1995, I think, or 6. So I go to Dr. Weili Liu and I say, well, what do you think? Is this a good deal or bad deal? Am I doing business with good people or bad people? And so have your board of directors and then associate with the very, very best people. And this is probably the best thing that I've ever done in my life. My grades in junior college, or actually in high school, were not very good. So when I went into junior college, Santa College, I looked around at who's raising their hand and answering questions and so forth, and the next time I go sit next to them. So I ended up picking out of all the students at Cal State Fullerton, the Phi Beta Kappa, the guy that made the highest grade point average. So he got A's, and then I was able to get B's. I was happy with that. By the way, he's also a business partner with me in Northern California. So it goes all the way from junior college to the present time. We own land together. And then the group decisions are better than the individual decisions. With my staff, my secretary and my accounting manager and so forth, I like to surround myself with no people, You know, my motto is ready, fire, aim. In other words, I'm a marketing guy, and you know, I look for the good in the property and where can I make money. Whereas the people I try and surround myself with will, you know, tuck my shirt and say, wait a minute, Bob, have you thought of this, this, and this, and this? And so they've saved me in my life, not making, moving too quick and making bad decisions. And I want to mention one other thing on surrounding better group decisions too. I had the opportunity to make a presentation, management presentation in Boston, Massachusetts for a big portfolio. So I thought, well, I better take my financial VP with me, and the lady had been with me for quite some time. So we go to Boston, we go in this big, huge boardroom, and I made my presentation, PowerPoint and so forth, and we walked out of the meeting, and I said, boy, that was a great meeting, wasn't it? And Vice President here, she says, no, it wasn't. I said, it wasn't? Well, how come? I thought it went pretty well, because I'm there pushing the deal, right? Well, while I'm pushing the deal, she's analyzing each one of these guys in the room as to whether she wants to date them or not. Does she trust these people? Their movements and what they're thinking about and how they react and so forth. And she says, did you see this, this, and this, and this? So I'm so busy trying to sell the deal. She's looking at the audience and saying, are these people I really want to do business with? So my motto is, or what I learned, is that I never go into an important meeting, okay, unless I take a lady with me, okay? Seriously, because you guys pay attention, because they will see things that you don't see, and that's saving over a long period of time, and they need money. Okay, the vision in buying real estate, you want to have a vision, first of all. Like for me, I wanted to have 100,000 net worth by the time I was 30 and $1 million by the time I was 40. So every decision I made, I would never buy anything that depreciated in value, as an example. And I really paid attention to what I bought and everything I'd say, well, this will appreciate or not. And maybe it won't appreciate, or maybe it stays the same. But the idea is, in the back of your mind, whatever you can envision, you can do. And every one of you in this room, okay, and I've told the administration this too, for our group in the Real Estate Association. I said, all my people, and you are my people, you will either be a CEO in a company, large company, or in the management office of a large company. You will be the CEO or owner of your own company, or you'll be a millionaire in 10 years, okay? Those are real objectives. Do you visualize, okay? You can do it. And instead of thinking, like I say, well, I'm just kind of a student here, junior, or, I don't know much about whatever. The idea is you guys are on your way. There's such a demand for young people like yourself in real estate, and particularly next year when we have actually a degree concentration in real estate. Very few colleges and universities get a degree in concentration in real estate. And so you're on your way, all of you. Okay, make your vision, target the market, and prototype, like maybe you want to say apartments. Well, you know more about apartments than anybody else, and you really understand the financial statements of apartments, and you talk to people that are dealing in apartments. Just keep gaining knowledge, keep going to school, even after you graduate. We've got it so we've got 14 organizations that we have a very close business relationship with, like BOMA, IREM, CCIM, NAIOP, so forth. And all of these organizations are anxious for you guys to become members, okay? And they're going to help you get part-time jobs and eventually careers. We like to have each student belong to maybe at least one, maybe two of these associations while you are going to school and building relationships while you're a student. You want to buy right and have an exit strategy for the property. Okay? OPM, it's other people's money. Okay? One of the things that I did, because I didn't have any money, everybody I would talk to, I'd say, here's what I'm doing over in Corona, and I'm making offers and so on and so forth. They'd say, well, gosh, if you get a good deal, let me know. I said, will do. I said, how much money do you have to invest? And they'd say, well, I've got $50,000. I said, well, I don't want to take your $50,000, but I'm going to put you down for $25,000. Okay? So if you need that extra 25 to buy a car or go on a trip or whatever, or emergencies, you're not going to come back to me and say, hey, well, I want my $50,000 back. So, okay, so people appreciate that. So what's going to happen is that a week will go by or 2 weeks, and they're going to say, hey, what do you find out? Where's my deal? How come I don't have a property yet? I said, well, just be patient. And then maybe I'd make an offer, and it'd be accepted in Corona. And I'd go back to one of my card files, and I'd say it's a $25,000 down. I'd pull out my $25,000 friend, and we're now partners. They put up the money for the down payment, and I do all the work, and I will take care of any of the negative cash flow. Because the worst thing you can do to a business partner that you bring in, such as I just mentioned, is go back and ask them for more money. So I always want to know that I've got the cash flow to take care of any negative cash flow. So, and then make many offers, just like 10 offers a week, and obtain seller financing whenever possible. This is really important going into the next 10 years, because interest rates are going to go up, as you all know. But say you have this property that's a $100,000 property, and it's got a $60,000 loan on it. So maybe you come in with a $10,000 down, 10% down, and you owe about $30,000 in extra money, and that's called a second trust deed. Okay? So you've got a first, you can either assume that first, okay, or and give the seller a second for the $30,000. Now, what I do is I will wrap the two notes into one note and make a $90,000 note. Okay? So we'll convince the seller not to go out and get a new loan, but maybe the new loan right now maybe be 6 or 7%. Well, maybe he has an existing 4% loan. Okay? So I'll say, tell you what I'm going to do, because I'm a good guy, I want to give you the $90,000 note at say 7% interest. Okay? So he makes 7% on that $30,000, if I don't lose you here, and he makes an extra, the difference between 4% and the 7% on his underlying note. Okay? So, plus he doesn't have to pay tax on the sale of the property because he's getting interest only, and he gets no principal, he only pays principal as he receives the principal. So I love seller financing. The other thing too is I'll try and give the seller to take back a second, and say the seller takes back a $20,000 second trust deed, and I always try and get 7-year financing. And the seller will negotiate down to 5, which, that's what I expect. So what happens is we both walk out of escrow, and the seller's, happy and figures the deal is done. And I walk out, and I think the deal's not done yet because I haven't completed my negotiation. So I'll wait for a year to go by, or a year and a half, and I'll pick up the phone and I'll call the seller. And I'll say, by the way, I owe you that $30,000. I just so happens I've got $15,000 cash sitting here. And I'll give you 15 for that $30,000 note. And but the seller has probably spent the money I originally gave him, for the purchase of the property. And now he's got something else to put the money into, and everybody thinks that they can make more money during that gap for the next 4 years and just leaving it with me. So, and typically what happens is the man in the family will say, no, that's ridiculous, I'm not going to reduce my note or discount it 50% and hang up on me. And he goes to his wife and he says, that knucklehead Taylor tried to discount that note 50% and I hung up on him. And the wife usually says, you get on the phone and you call Mr. Taylor right away and you tell him you're taking that $50,000. Because the wives always have a place to put the money. It's either a new kitchen, or it's a trip, or it's something else. But they're always looking for money, and the husband never says no to the lady. Okay, that's another thing you guys got to know. I just said, yeah. So anyway, that's you want to. What you really are is you're business people. You're focused on not just buying property, but see yourself as a businessman or a businesswoman, and you're out there, whether you're selling apples or cars or in this case real estate, big ticket items. You're there to churn and make money.